Kenny and Nika began watching WWE in January 2025 during the Royal Rumble. Nika is brand new to WWE, while Kenny is returning for the first time in over 20 years. They appreciate your patience as they learn everybody's names and finishers, as well as past events concerning the WWE brand and or characters. They promise they will learn it all in due time.
Well, we are finally back, Nika. It has been a long 4th of July holiday weekend, and we missed quite a bit of wrestling. We have a lot of wrestling that we got to get caught up on, and I'm excited about it. How about you?
Oh, I'm excited.
All right. Well, without further ado, we got to go all the way back to Friday night, and just a little bit of a spoiler here. The SmackDown that aired on Friday night was actually taped a week ago Monday, so it's so old by now, and like if you're into spoilers or anything like that, this is probably like old news to you, but nevertheless we got to get through it because it's like it feels like something's missing then. You know, it feels like we missed covering a part of the show, and I just can't let that stand.
Okay, we missed a chapter.
So I guess consider this the warm-up catch-up episode after the long holiday weekend. And then, you know, we're going to continue going on with Raw right after this. We'll probably post it in 2 different segments, but that's for us to decide and for you to find out later. So without further ado, drum roll, and it was Cody Rhodes, everybody, making a triumphant return to the ring with that crown on SmackDown. This was his first appearance since getting back from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as the King of the Ring champion for 2025. And, well, I guess Cody, I don't know how this was determined, but he's going to get a chance at the championship belt at SummerSlam. It's been kind of revealed.
Okay.
So he's going to fight John Cena at SummerSlam.
Oh, okay. So that's the belt. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he won King of the Ring, and that kind of precludes the SummerSlam event. SummerSlam's a big event on the WWE calendar. And this was the WrestleMania headlining match. So it's a rematch, so to speak.
Yeah, and it makes sense for Cody to win instead of Randy because Randy just fought Cena.
Yeah, of course. So speaking of Randy, Randy did not waste too much time to come down to the ring here, and I wouldn't call this so much of an interruption as it was more of a congratulations on beating me. This is like the mentor giving the mentee like the passing of the torch and kind of saying, don't squander this opportunity. Like, you don't know how many of these you're going to get. And
master and apprentice.
A little warning shot from the old master to the young, well, I don't know if Cody Rhodes is young, but to the you know, he's the star now. He's one of the main attractions of all of WWE for sure. You see what he gets, his responses, stadium after stadium, country after country. He's huge.
Very popular. Absolutely.
Well, these two had their little moment in the ring, and then a third joined the fray, and it was the return, Nika. It was one of our favorites, the Scotsman. Is he Scottish?
I think so.
Drew McIntyre, everybody, is back. I thought he was going to be out a lot longer.
Me too. They made it sound like he's not retiring, but he's taking a long siesta to heal his neck.
Yeah,
injury.
They made it sound like he had a big neck injury, and that like I just thought we were going to be missing in action for a lot more period of time, considering how that match ended with Damian Priest. He took those shots off his head with the chair. You know, they really sold it that he was down and out for the count and having some serious injury.
So do you think his injury siesta was not real or was partially real?
Yeah, it might have been partially real, and he might have healed sooner than expected. I don't know. He might have responded to treatment better. Who knows? He looks great.
Scotland has better food.
He looks good. I mean, it's funny here. As you see, we go through a couple more of these slides. Look at him next to Cody Rhodes. He just towers over him, right?
He's a big dude.
He is. He's an imposing force. And I hope he comes back and has a bigger role in things to come, because I think he has the potential to be a really good villainous heel.
Oh, yeah.
But he needs time to build those storylines with certain characters and whatnot. And he can be a different kind of villain than Seth Rollins is to the whole brand. Well, he came out and he kind of just said to Cody Rhodes that he's lost his edge, you know, Randy Orton, kind of similar things. I don't know. They brought him out here, and then Randy Orton gave him an RKO here to kind of end the the back and forth on the mic. I don't know if the back and forth is accurate. I guess he had words for them after being gone. It was kind of an abrupt entrance without and that's how WWE storylines do start. You know, they start abruptly without much warning or notice. Things happen, people change sides
in an instant.
So Drew McIntyre came out here and just, I guess, started beefing with these two legends because I guess he just feels like they're not upholding their legendary brand status as individual performers.
I'll buy that.
I guess that's his angle. So this all spurned a matchup for this Saturday's main event, and it's going to be Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre here. And this will be, again, Drew McIntyre's first matchup since the last Saturday night main event, which is when Damian Priest left him crippled in the ring, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it. And this will be Randy Orton's first match since the Saudi Arabia King of the Ring matchup with Cody Rhodes. This is a fun little matchup, I guess, that's added to the Saturday night main event card. This is the kind of names I guess I would see or I expect to see in a Saturday night main event matchup. But yeah, we'll be back and doing a prediction show for the Saturday night main event and the Evolution show, the women's event that is on Sunday. And we got a lot of WWE to get to this week. So with that being said, we are going to move this right along. There was another matchup we just talked about that was mentioned, and here is Triple H, I guess, making it official. This is the first official artwork I've seen for Cena versus Rhodes 2.
Okay.
The undisputed WWE Championship is on the line at SummerSlam. It is going to be John Cena defending against Cody Rhodes. And no predictions here yet, but Nika, just your reactions initially to this matchup being announced and made official.
I like the poster.
I like the poster too. Very American. And do we glean any hints here? You know, we've speculated a little bit about what might happen with Cody Rhodes and John Cena here. And The Rock, of course, is missing in action since WrestleMania, since he had this whole Cody Rhodes, John Cena possession switch, bait and switch, I guess you're going to call it. Like, everyone was waiting for Cody Rhodes to answer the question, and it was, I guess, pre-decided that John Cena was going to take his place.
So you think there's going to be another switch and bait?
I'm wondering if Cody will reconsider aligning himself with The Rock, and if The Rock will reconsider taking him in and creating drama. The one thing I'll say is John Cena, while I feel like he has been enjoying the farewell tour as a heel, I think he's going to go out as a face again.
Yeah, I think so too. He will switch somewhere along the way just to go out on the high
as
note.
A good guy, as the character he kind of has been. And this was just a fun little deviation for a while. And I do fully expect there to be some kind of possession angle with The Rock, that this wasn't really John Cena the entire time. And like, even those little pieces with R-Truth where he was trying to get through to John Cena will be looked back upon as valuable moments for the character in a sense, and being like, see, he was in there the whole time. And it was just The Rock's doing. It was the final boss. It wasn't him. Okay,
so do we see The Rock coming back for this match at some point, or just showing up, making some appearance?
I think so. I think he's going to have to make a presence at some point because, again, we haven't really, I don't think, seen him since the Elimination Chamber finale, which is where Cena turned on him and The Rock did the famous, like, you know, and Cena was the first Cena stare, you know, and we had the Cena stare again in Riyadh. So there is an angle there, I think, that's happening with The Rock and possession and something going on where they're gonna play this metaphysical magic angle with The Rock and the final boss, and it's very video game-esque, I gotta say. But I will go back to the poster really quick here and say I couldn't help but notice that the blue side is pointed towards Cena and the red side is pointed towards Cody Rhodes, and it just makes me wonder, is this foreshadowing the flip? Is Cena going to turn good and is Cody Rhodes going to turn bad? What do you think?
That depends if you consider blue to be good and red
From
to
my
be...
point of view, the Jedi are evil. So there.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. I don't know if this is the turning point for Cody. It might be. I wouldn't mind seeing him being a heel for a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. I go back and forth on it in my head right now still, and we're like still a few weeks away from SummerSlam happening. So until then, I guess we'll wait and see. But I'll let it fester in my head and see what I think before we do any like crazy prediction show. But I will say this in my head, it makes sense for something to happen here, and for some kind of bait and switch to happen. It just we're due for a big dramatic moment, you know. And how many more greatest hits tours does Cena have left in him? You know, when it comes to like opponents here, we've seen, obviously we had the Cody Rhodes one at WrestleMania, and we had Randy Orton, and then we had CM Punk, and now we're having Cody Rhodes again. So it just makes me wonder, like, it doesn't feel like we're getting a Cody Rhodes, a John Cena, Seth Rollins greatest hits tour, because they're both villains at the moment. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get a, you know, John Cena, and I'm trying to think of the next big, like, we're not going to get a Gunther. They're both heels at the moment. So, and it doesn't seem like John Cena and Jey Uso have a lot of history together. So it's not necessarily part of the greatest hits tour. I'm just trying to think of all the biggest names in the game right now and see where they stack up, so to speak. So
we will have to think about this.
Yeah, the greatest hits tour can't go on forever, and you know, from WrestleMania to SummerSlam would be a pretty good final championship belt run when you look at it. It's like the summer of Cena.
Yeah, true.
So, all right, well, those are the initial thoughts on this matchup, but let's move on. We had more SmackDown to get to, and it was Tiffy time, everybody. Hello. Look at that. She is just popping out of that picture, Nika.
I see. Nice picture.
Very proud, Tiffany, over there of herself. And that's part of her character, obviously, but nevertheless, can't help but notice. And it says, after a huge win at Night of Champions, women's champion Tiffany Stratton will choose her challenger for the upcoming WWE Evolution. I thought this was a fun little nugget. It was, first we got to see Io Sky pick Rhea Ripley to defend her championship belt up against Evolution. And now it's ladies' pick for the regular WWE Championship belt, not the world belt, and Tiffany Stratton getting to choose her opponent, which I thought was interesting. But before she could announce to the crowd who that was, she was interrupted by the queen, the new queen of the ring. It was Jade Cargill, one of our favorites. Now, I say that, and I do want to point a little constructive criticism at Jade's way and just tell her that she needs to get a little bit more spicy on the mic.
She does have to level up her mic game.
Without being too critical, I feel like she comes across flat sometimes.
She does.
You know, she's got this whole Zeus persona, and she's got the body.
Yeah.
You know,
she definitely does have everything, but she has to work on the mic skills.
Yeah,
slightly.
She needs to.
Or the writing just got to get better.
Yeah, so help her with some good material, everybody. Like, it's a two-way street. It's not just the performer, but it's also the writing and what they get to work with.
Absolutely.
So let's unleash the Jade, everybody. I guess Tiffany finally gets to call out her opponent, and it was none other than Hall of Famer Trish Stratus, everybody. The Stratus faction, Nika, as she's known. And she was looking good in that pink cowboy hat and those boots.
Definitely.
But the three of them in the ring, this segment fell flat for me a little bit.
Yes.
And this goes along with the writing, and I don't blame the performers necessarily individually. And having said all that, I got to admit, I'm still excited for the Evolution matchup to see Tiffany Stratton go one-on-one with a legend like Trish Stratus. I think, you know, Trish looks great, and we saw her perform, I think, at the Royal Rumble recently. And I wonder what's in store for her. You know, like, I don't see Tiffany losing the belt to Trish Stratus in this moment, but man, I don't know if it would surprise me either, because I feel like she's had a pretty good run here.
Tiffany did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's cooking right now at WWE. We got Goldberg, we got Trish Stratus coming back. Like, are they trying to give these legends like another last moment in the limelight, or are they just here to help boost the current roster?
Maybe both.
Well, I'm just wondering, between Gunther and Goldberg and Tiffany and Trish, do you think either one of them has a chance of losing to their, we'll say, elder opponent?
I don't think so. It makes no sense for either Goldberg or Trish to win the belt. and then be challenged by somebody else later on. It's just
Yeah,
it's
I
more
agree.
of the like a 15 more minutes of fame before they go and retire for sure.
Especially being like just at this point, it'll be 3 weeks away from SummerSlam, which is you think all of these belts would be on the line at like a big 2-night event like that.
I would think so.
You know, not to mention the intercontinental titles, the tag team, all the belts need to be on the line at SummerSlam. That's what people watch for, you know, is for the stakes
Right.
and for the turns.
So yeah, I wouldn't expect these belts to change hands.
I'm not. I'm just hoping that Tiffany and Trish put on a good show, you know, and
I wouldn't be surprised if they have interruptions, shenanigans, somebody just does some weird stuff.
well, and I know Trish is easy on the eyes, even at I don't even know how old she is at this point, you know, but she's been around even during my first run 20 years ago. So,
she's
it's been a
20 years
while,
older.
you know, and I'm not here to date her or age her, but I feel like she didn't get in the Hall of Fame because she didn't know what she was doing in the wrestling ring. You know, she's good at working, and hopefully that can boost Tiffany up a little bit and give her a good person to actually work a match with. And hopefully they can all come out ahead and have put on a good show. And
Well, at the end of the day, it is a teamwork for these people.
it is, you know, it takes two. And when you find someone good that you can work with, it only enhances the product. It's
Yes.
not a detriment in a sense, like maybe in other industries it might be. So, well, we have to turn it back to my favorite moment because it was Naomi. And after this whole threesome showdown went down in the ring with Trish and Tiffany and Jade, Trish was walking backstage and had an encounter with Jade. And as Trish was walking away, then Naomi came up behind Jade and attacked her again. And this is once again Naomi putting a hit on our girl Jade Cargill.
That was a sneak attack.
I gotta say, I like Naomi so much as a bad character. And
Oh,
like
she's awesome.
the laugh she has, like she's got a career in acting in her future for sure. Like someone's gonna want that laugh in a movie or in a cartoon or something. It's just too good. It's too villainous. She must have spent a lot of time working on it because she's got it down.
It's really good. And her tears on command. It's really good acting out.
Yeah, she's got those crocodile tears she can produce at times, seemingly on demand. And boy, oh boy, like you compare her Money in the Bank briefcase compared to Seth's, and she's got hers all taped up and guarded and like, beware if you go inside here. We already took a peek at what's inside of there. There's some dangerous objects inside that briefcase at times.
Hey,
And
it says caution.
nevertheless, the briefcase itself was dangerous to Jade here. And we're getting another match at Evolution. It is going to be Jade Cargill against Naomi. So kind of an unexpected timing for this matchup for me personally. And rumor has it that this is going to be a no holds barred match, Nika.
What does that mean?
Well,
No
according
rules?
to the AI that I'm on my screen here, a match with no disqualifications, meaning anything goes and there are no restrictions on moves, weapons, or interference.
So it's like street fight.
Basically, I don't know the
Why
difference
couldn't
between.
they just call it a street fight?
I think we need to just like take a step back here and simplify our lexicon of matches because I don't see a difference between this and a street fight. Maybe somebody that listens or watches can tell us in the comments below what is the difference between no holds barred and street fight. Thank you. But back to the match. If this is a street fight / no holds barred match, I am all in for it, Nika.
Me too.
I'm excited. Naomi's probably going to just start using her briefcase as a when opening what's in there. We've seen like pliers and blowtorches and other stuff. I kid, but not really. I don't trust naughty Naomi. And if I was Jade, I would be on my guard here. You
No
know,
kidding.
this is before her big championship match at SummerSlam. So be careful,
so this
Jade.
is a tune-up match.
Naomi's not to be messed with, though. And,
No.
you know,
Don't mess with Naomi.
and we know she's lurking in the background with that briefcase always until she cashes it in, and she has not yet. So
Nope.
adds to the suspense. I love it. Same thing with Seth. I love it. But the night was not over. We had a women's 3-way tag team matchup. This was for a chance to challenge Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez at Evolution. And this was decided on the Raw before this that Roxanne was going to inherit Liv Morgan's World Championship belt because Liv is unfortunately injured and she's going to be out for an extended period of time, unlike Drew McIntyre, apparently. But nevertheless, this storyline was decided, and the wrinkle that came with that storyline-wise was that, sure, she can have Liv's belt and just become part of the new women's tag team with Raquel, but you need to defend your championship belts in this fatal four-way matchup at Evolution, and you would have to face a team that represented SmackDown, a team that represented Raw, and a team that represented NXT. So we get to see who's next, so to speak. We saw the unlikely team up here of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. That was kind of fun to see. But they were taking on, and I'm getting it up here because I kind of forgot everyone they're taking on. The Secret Hervis, of course, is the one we all know because they are always around these days. They're one of the few tag teams out there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
For women, at least. So it was Alba Fire and Piper Niven taking on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And the third team was Michin, who is the crazy Korean, right? That's what her name means.
Yes.
And she was teamed up with B-Fab, and I have no idea who B-Fab is, but the three of these teams did put on a fun show for everyone to watch. And this was one of the screenshots I grabbed because look at that backflip by Charlotte Flair. Look at the height. I mean, she's airborne completely. This is the kind of stunt choreography you get to see on a regular basis, even on a SmackDown episode. You know, it's really impressive, and I just thought it was worth highlighting that moment. But the funniest part is that this happened right after Charlotte Flair had tapped Alexa Bliss on the head. Now, they're not a very friendly tag team, if you will. There's a little bit of playful animosity between these two, if that makes sense. And she tapped Alexa Bliss on the head, therefore tagging in her tag team partner. So after landing this reverse somersault here on both of her opponents, Alexa Bliss ran in and got the pin. So it was Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair becoming the first women's tag team to qualify for this women's fatal four-way match at Evolution. That's pretty exciting. And I'm excited to see where this goes with these two, because it's clear that there's like some playful tension going on, and I'm curious to see how far they're gonna take it. You know,
but it's an interesting tag team.
Could you see them becoming the champions?
Yeah, I could. And then just have a little friction coming back and forth because how they became the champs. Why not?
Yeah, I think that would be a fun, like, it's like we're bound together by these belts, but we really don't like each other kind of thing. And it would be a fun, unique storyline to add to the women's tag team division. So I'm all for it. And I'm all for seeing these two take the belts at Evolution. But more predictions to come later. Getting ahead of myself, as usual. So as of Friday night, this is what the poster for that tag team match looked like. We had Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, and now Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss added into the mix. So two more teams to be determined, and it didn't take long because we found out on Raw who that's going to be. But we'll get to that in our next segment, Nika, because we had one more SmackDown segment to react to, and Triple H actually posted this before the show got underway. It was Solo Sikoa and his new posse.
Oh, he's got new posses, huh? Well, he is a champ now.
Yes, and Triple H was giving them, I guess, a congratulatory tweet and also saying, like, we got to find out what's next because he's going to be on SmackDown. But he was in a tag team matchup with JC Mateo against his former brother, Jacob Fatu, and it was Jimmy Uso, brother of Jey Uso.
Jimmy Uso, that.
And this match, I'm reading here from the WWE website. It says, days after winning the United States Championship from Jacob Fatu in controversial fashion at WWE, Night of Champions Solo Sikoa teamed with JC Mateo to take on the Samoan Werewolf and Jimmy Uso. In the explosive final moments, Fatu gained a small amount of retribution on Sikoa by pinning the new title holder with a moonsault from the top rope. When Fatu looked to take out Sikoa with an announce table splash after the match, however, Tala Tonga and Tonga Loa suddenly emerged to take out Fatu and Uso. Sikoa's new group then performed an epic powerbomb on Fatu through the announce table. And Nika, that's the screenshot we can see here to headline SmackDown's closing moments. The imposing posse staring down over this broken Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
So this is a internal family feud as well.
It is. And, I think we speculated already, but it's worth reiterating that I feel like this is building to some kind of big Survivor Series War Games matchup. You can see Solo's got the foursome right there. He's already got his 4 horsemen, including himself. Jacob needs backup. He's got Jimmy Uso potentially, and I could really easily see Jey Uso joining the mix because, well, he needs a little new, fresh storyline.
True. And also, they might have to bring Roman Reigns as a family.
Somebody needs to
step in
and reorient things. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll be here following it. But this was how SmackDown ended. And yeah, it was fun to get back into wrestling, Nika, and fun to get caught up, fun to talk about this with you. Any parting thoughts for everybody as SmackDown ended?
Well, a lot happened. So that was nice to have big shows and big fights announced. But it was a mediocre show. So
yeah, I think this show being taped also, it does quell the energy. Mm-hmm. You can't fake live,
Cannot.
And even people in the audience know. They know that it's not being shown to the world at this moment. And that does have a psychological effect on you as an audience member.
Yeah.
It's a little bit crazy. Nevertheless, this was fun and it did its job. It was on literally 4th of July. So I don't imagine a lot of people even watched this live. I bet a lot of people saw it taped on TiVo or looked up spoilers ahead of time because it was taped. So yeah,
it is what it is.
It did its job. It served its purpose.
Yeah.
Still would like to see a little bit better writing and a little bit better mic skills from everyone involved. And I think that's a group effort that the brand just needs to work on, especially with the women's division,
Yeah. I would love to see that because there's so many potential good characters in the women's division. They just need to be leveled up.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for letting us get caught up on SmackDown with all of you, and let us know what you thought about SmackDown in the comments below. I know it's been a few days, but feel free to chime in and let us know your thoughts. We'll read it and we will respond to you and possibly read your comments on the air if they intrigue us enough. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you again shortly.
Bye.
Adios.